It is really freaking cold this morning. It's 41 degrees. It says it feels like 38. I am freezing, man. I have a long sleeve shirt, a hoodie, and then this denim jacket over that. As the sun picks up throughout the day, it should get a little bit warmer. But we're gonna start off throwing some big poppers here because normally top waters and cold don't really make sense, but I think there might be some bluefish running around this time of year, and they love a good old popper, and they also love cold weather. So we're gonna throw the popper around and rip it for a little bit while we still got some low light situation and see if we can catch Blue Daddy. It's cold. Alright, so no bites on the popper. To be honest, I was probably being a little hopeful there. I just thought it would have been really cool to catch a bluefish or a big jack early in the morning on top, but it's really cold out and that's the way it goes. But when it's really cold out, unfortunately, sometimes you have to fish very slow, and that's what we're about to do here, but it can produce a lot of fish. Something that I used to throw all the time, I haven't really thrown that much on my channel very often anymore, is an artificial shrimp right here. Now this might be, in my opinion, probably the best saltwater lure ever invented because, well, everything eats a freaking shrimp, basically. Every fish in the ocean will eat a shrimp. And so it is dynamite, and you can fish it a bunch of different ways, but we're gonna fish around some docks really slowly, which is one of my favorite ways to fish, and I really haven't done any serious dock fishing in a while, so that's what we're gonna get at right now. Let's say first cast here. Get a nice little skip up under there. We're gonna let that sink all the way down the bottom. Just let it hit the bottom. Just really lightly bounce it. Where's the fish? Little snook. First cast in the morning, really. There you go. Or first cast with the shrimp. Talk about productive. First cast of the shrimp, a beautiful little tarpon snook right there. I mean, it's a decent sized tarpon snook. They don't get very big, but they are such beautiful fish. I mean, you can see their giant eyeballs, how lit up his fins are. That is beautiful. And it looks extra crispy. It's because there's a brand new camera on this boat right now filming this bad boy. Getting those colors beautiful, man. We're not gonna keep them out of the water very long. We're gonna keep throwing, but first cast on the shrimp produced a fish. What do you know? Oop, okay. There's the fish. Oh, it just popped off. What the hell? That was a very weak hook set by me, to be honest. I didn't think I had a fish. I thought I was just stuck on something. Oh, there's a fish. Little snook. Started reeling it and he picked it up. Little guy. Going nuts though. Fighting a little hard in this cold water, aren't you, buddy? Oh god, what the hell? Blue heron, I'm freaking out. Little common snook right there. Alright, well, A+ on the release, but second fish of the morning. Cruising right along. Probably been about 15 minutes since the last fish. We're doing alright. Now something that I'm very OCD about when I'm fishing for snook is that making sure to change your leader, or at least check your leader after you catch fish. So the first fish I caught, I didn't need to change my leader. He didn't chafe it at all, but that one ate that shrimp a little deeper, and so my leader got frayed, and that is the best way to lose a good fish, is just to be lazy and forget to change out your leader, and then you lose them because snook have such abrasive mouths. So even a little fish like that has the ability to start to fray through and wear down. 30-pound test is what I'm throwing. So be pretty diligent about changing out your leader. Oh, there's a fish. Get out. Oh my gosh, a tiny jack. I ain't got time for this. It's a tiny horseye, which is always interesting, catching a little horseye jack. Little horseye. Ooh, dropped it. That was a good whack though. And it kind of felt like a snapper though, with a very fast like triple tap, like a boom, boom, boom. Oh gosh, it still had it. What the heck is going on? Get it way deep in there. When I'm doing these docks, I like to keep my rod tip down instead of up a lot of times, because when it's down, there's a lot less slack in your line the whole entire time. And so you really won't miss those bites as much. Oh, it must be something little, man. It must be snapper, or just little snook. See right there, just whacked it again. I don't think these fish are very big, but now I'm just like determined to kind of try to figure out what it is. It's either a little snook or a snapper, I think. There's one. Whatever it is. It's just a little snook. Okay, that makes way more sense. Alright, little common snook right there. I just wanted to figure out what those fish were, because every single cast underneath that dock, I was getting hammered. There's the fish. A little snook. We're catching numbers today, which is nice. Dock fishing is one of those things, you have to kind of run through a bunch of fish, and you may find a big one, or you might have a day where you catch 10 little snook. You know, it's very similar, in my opinion, to fishing like a Texas rig, or yeah, really a Texas rig worm, like a trick worm or a finesse worm, where you know, you catch a lot of fish, but it doesn't mean a big fish won't eat it. It's just very easy for a little fish to eat it as well. That's what, our fourth or fifth snook. Just pop them off real easy. Look at that. And off he goes. There's a bite right there. Come back for it, buddy. There it is. There it is. Oh my gosh, freaking dink fest today, dude. I'm happy to just be catching fish, to be honest. I would like to maybe find a bigger one. That would be great, because they have been actively almost getting smaller, it seems, as the day's gone out. Pop him back in the water. Normally with snook, I take my time to release them, but I'm keeping these fish out of the water for maybe 3 seconds. So, a quick flip back is not too bad on them. Yeah, I was really hoping we'd smack a big one along the docks. That's alright though. Alright, we've just finished fishing a dock line. I would say I honestly probably fished, I don't know, like 50 docks. I don't know how well you can see in the lens, but from here, there's a dock right here, all the way to the last dock you can see way over there. I fished along the whole entire line for about the past 2 hours. And caught, I think, 6 snook and that one little tiny horse-eyed jack. Now, dock fishing, I shouldn't say dock fishing. Now, fishing with an artificial shrimp like this, it can be slow, but it can be also very productive. Like today, knocked out 6 fish very quickly, and it's really a numbers game where you're trying to weed through all these little fish, and occasionally you can hook a few good ones. I think the biggest snook I've ever caught on an artificial shrimp was like 33 inches, so you can catch some decent sized ones. You know, very rarely. I know some people have caught some close to 40 on artificial shrimp, but that's very few and far between. I say it's a really common comparison to call it kind of like fishing a finesse worm for largemouth bass, where you know you catch a lot of little fish, but you still might have a 8-pound bass choke a finesse worm. You never really know. It's just putting in your time and giving that numbers game, because you'll run through a lot of little fish, but you might find a big one sometimes. And that's just kind of how I think about it when I'm fishing an artificial shrimp. Now, fishing docks, I feel a lot of people do it differently, and this is my own opinion on it, but how I have the most success fishing docks is fishing them very, very slow. And I mean, if you watch some of the hook sets, most of the time I let that shrimp sit for almost 5 to 10 seconds before I even start retrieving it. So it falls very naturally like that, just shakes all the way to the bottom, and it's sitting there on the bottom. And a lot of times your bite is gonna come when it falls down the bottom. You let it sit there for a few seconds and you pop it up. Because a lot of times what happens is you're letting that shrimp fall, letting it fall, and it hits the bottom, but while it's falling, the snook that's sitting in the piling over here might see it, and he just watches it go all the way down and just slowly comes over. And the second you pop it up, bam, he hammers it. And that's what happens a lot of times. And I see a lot of people who are fishing docks and they don't do well on docks, is because they're working the shrimp like it's a jerk bait. Now, you can work this like that and you might catch fish, but it's probably gonna be jack and ladyfish. And one time I do work the shrimp rather quickly is when I'm fishing grass for trout, because in that situation, you're trying to act like a shrimp being spooked out of the grass. But when they're underneath a dock, they're slow, you know, they're crawling around. If you've ever watched videos of shrimp or if you've seen them while you're diving, they just really slowly creep along the bottom. They might get scared, but they only hop up a few inches. You know, they're not flying 6 feet out of the water going ch-ch-ch. And you know, sometimes they might when you see the shrimp getting flushed out and they're on the top floating with grass. That's different. But when you're fishing docks, they're gonna be slowly creeping along the bottom. They're not flying through dock pilings. Now, if you're working a fluke or a twitch bait, then yeah, freaking rip it through there. But if you wanna work it fast, don't throw a shrimp, throw a fluke. But if you wanna work something slow and be productive, that's your go-to right there. All right, all that being said, we're gonna go finish out the morning and fish a bridge for a little bit and see if we can maybe find a bigger fish on a bridge. All right, we're about to close out the day here throwing a 4-inch DOA shrimp. And now this is what I was throwing before. This is a 3-inch and this is a 4. Now it doesn't seem like that huge of a difference, but sometimes that little profile step up can make all the difference in the world to catching a little bit bigger of a fish. So we'll see what happens here. Maybe we'll get one, close out the day. Maybe we won't, but all you can do is try. There's a bite right there. Oh, freaking, come on. What a freaking flub that was. We'll drop it back down, maybe we'll come back for it. That was awful. Just killing it with that hook set, man. Oh my gosh, oh freaking come on. I literally was about to pull it out of the water and a little snook came up and slammed it. I just didn't even have any line to hook set when he did that. I'm on point today. Alright, I think that'll do it for the day. Had a few bites on the bridge, but didn't seal the deal on anything. Just kind of being a doofus and missing hook sets and having fish come up and strike next to the boat and still whiffing them. It is what it is. But today, the hero of the day, the artificial shrimp. Now this is a DOA, and I'm not brand specific really. I'm never gonna be the type of person that's like, you know, if you're not throwing this brand of bait, you're not gonna catch fish. I mean, there's 1,000 different types of shrimp. Every saltwater soft plastic company has their own version of an artificial shrimp. DOAs, I think they're just kind of the OG. They're one of the original ones to make an artificial shrimp, and in my opinion, is probably the best saltwater lure ever invented because, like I said earlier, everything eats shrimp. I've caught grouper, snapper, snook, jack, kudas. I've caught a bonefish on artificial shrimp. Everything will eat a freaking shrimp, you know what I'm saying? So that is why it is such a great lure. You know, you can leave below what you think the best saltwater lure ever made was, and maybe it'll inspire me to try something different. But during the winter months, when you have to fish slow, do not be afraid to pick this up. It can make a big difference in having a day of catching no fish or catching a lot of fish. Now today, had a lot of numbers. Nothing huge, unfortunately, but that's just kind of the way it is, like I was saying earlier, when you're running one of these things. It's just working through a lot of little fish, and sometimes you'll stick a big one. But I'm done for the day. I appreciate the heck out of you guys. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already, if you want to stay up to date when I post videos. I appreciate you guys. Until next time, see ya.